Hey, so what's up, everybody? So I want to just kind of go over a few things as far as trying to get into the institutional mindset, um, and how I like to in this process think about follow the money. Um, but before any of that, some key facts I think that would be really helpful is sorry, that's that site. Hold on, let me exit that real quick. So in this regard, you need to just develop a lot of knowledge about the world in general. Like I feel like you can't really master this if you don't know what's going on in the world. And for you to really get in tune with like what's going on to just create this market awareness, you need to like check out sites like this, like the Insight dot Factset. You know, read some of the blogs, read some of the synopsis about some of the earnings. Um, just check out some of the things. So like they report on the earnings periodically, right? So this one article that they had about their earnings was about the record number of ESG popping up in the earnings. And if you read through this, I'm not going to go through everything, but one key factors that they pointed out was that this was the highest number that they received of companies mentioning citing the term ESG in their earnings, the highest number. And just reading this, you said that financials, industrials, utilities, and energy are the highest number of companies that have been talking about it. Um, and that's just something to note because if you also go and you look at other sites like besides Inside Factset, if you go to like Visual Capital, if you look at so if we go here to Visual Capitalist, let it load up. Um, there was an interesting article about ESG actually. If it wants to work. See if I can find it. Sorry, this is a work laptop and it's bootleg at times. But oh, there we go. So there was an interesting article that I remember about signs of the future of the direction of financial markets. And if you read this article, Visual Capitalist is a great site. Mark definitely put us on some really dope gems. But if you go here on the site would tell you definitely the information about what they expect people to invest on in the future. And just talking about sustainable assets, investing, and you just talk about where the future of how many people are going to looking to invest in that. And I think that's very important because then you know what companies, institutions are going to think about, especially if you go ahead and you like, if you came across an article like, um, uh, BlackRock is now going to have significant influence on proxy ballots against corporations, signaling that they would now be supporting resolutions on climate change. So now you get developing a thesis about what's going on in the world. You're developing an idea of like what these institutions are about to start investing in, where their mindset is at. Climate change becoming serious. Not only, I mean, it's been serious for the general public, but now you understand that it's serious from an institutional standpoint of the people who basically move the market. And if you're not familiar with who BlackRock is, then I mean, you should definitely know who the big dogs are in the stock market. In the asset manager world, BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard have been known as the big three, the Bahamut, dwarfing everyone else by matters. So now these are things, see, and these are things that I would definitely write and note down and put into like my spreadsheet that I use to keep track of stocks, watch lists, notes about what's going on in the world, different sectors, different information. So like see at the bottom, on this sheet I got quantum EV, I got cloud, institutional ownership, where we talk about just here are notes about the different kind of forms that they'll file in the SEC. So you have your form 4, your form 10, form 13D, G, F, and the form 24B2. Um, and all these forms are different. These are just basically insider transactions. Form 4, which is basically, it's really just important to understand if it's a P and S. P is for purchase, S is for sale. The other processes that you might see as far as like, um, sorry, that's work. As far as like uh, accumulation or distribution are just standard procedures that are executed from the executive board that you have to execute. So those aren't really, so when you see them forms, those doesn't really say anything of real significance, in my opinion. Um, then you have the form 10, which is like a trust institution form. Um, Nothing we have to really be too concerned about exactly at this time. Form 10 is for when stocks want to like when they're like trying to accumulate income, so they're offering shares and stuff like that. And then the 13 through F is more so just 13D and G is for like when people are like giving ownership of certain stocks to like family members or trustees. And then the form 13F is quarterly report. Yep. So when they just basically want to let you know like how their holdings are. So changes in the holdings, any of them, such things when it's over $100 million or more. And the last form, which is ones I like to pay attention to, is a form 242B, form 24B2, which is forms that are like when institutions are filing basically um, contracts that are similar to options on certain stocks. But these are the type of things you will want to note, though. Like information as far as here, you'll say some institutional ownership, and you'll write down that the big three is, you know, put a note, big three, Vanguard, State Street, and BlackRock. So these are how I think you should function. You should probably move. Interesting things, because then you now are developing more of like what's going on in the world. And you start becoming aware of who the big dogs are. So then you want to start following the big dogs because the big dogs are the big ones. So like if you would see was like Ticker Terminal or like Wayne Wisdom, maybe say we want to find who we want to see what the BlackRock be doing, you know. And you see who the top buys are. So BlackRock, dang, they got a put on a company LQD, but we see they got a lot of Nvidia, a lot of Zoom, Berkshire, huh? But they also got shares of this. Interesting. LQD bonds. So these are corporate bonds, corporate fund bonds. Okay. So these are just the type of things that like when you're researching, you just want to like pay attention to. Um, so just pay attention, just keep track of all these type of things. I'm sorry, I kind of got stuck in the research. I kind of get into that mode where I'm like just starting to analyze data. So, but you would look, we've seen how this site can be used. So, but just information is dope. And then I will go like to Quiver and just see like so prominent investors. We see here that we have Bill Ackerman, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Seth Kellen. So first thing I'm thinking like, does anybody from BlackRock? Is anybody here from BlackRock? So I'll look through all this to see if anybody here is from BlackRock. Larry Fink? Was Larry Fink on here? Nope. All right, so that'll be something to note. See if I'm trying to, but then I'll look at this chart anyway. And I start thinking to myself, hold on, S&P did this, but this company didn't fall that bad. This investor Warren Buffett didn't fall that bad. So then I would be kind of curious. I was starting to see who else didn't fall bad. Oh, Bill Gates was actually going up. Interesting. Daniel Lobb was kind of going up. Interesting. And Stephen Mandel is killing it. So Stephen Mandel and Bill Gates will stick out to me, right? So then what I'll do is I'll be like, well, that's interesting. So now that we know who now we got to figure out who Stephen Mandel is. Lone Pine Capital. Cool, cool. So now, okay. So now I'm gonna pull up Lone Pine Capital, see who the top players are in their portfolios. So DocuSign, Square, Match, Team, Cooper Software. Okay. All right. So we see also what they've been increasing, and they've been increasing that tech, increasing finance, decreasing consumer discretionary, decreasing communications, increasing health a bit, decreasing the industrials. Got completely out of transport. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna see what their top. Let me see what the top 10 holdings are. Okay. And what have they been changed the most shares in so recently? Nuance. That's interesting. Nuance communications. That's really interesting. Okay. So instantly a new position, instantly 3%, eight 8 million shares off rip. That's pretty that's a pretty big position to just come in real quick into me, in my opinion. But oh well, maybe not. They got some much higher positions here. But that was something to be definitely catch my eye. Okay, no, I was off, definitely off. Their biggest positions: the Shopify, Facebook, and Microsoft. Okay, United Healthcare, Coupa Software, PayPal, Global Payments, Netflix, Amazon. Okay, and Humana Healthcare. Okay, interesting. Okay. So then now you just take note of that. And so then now you might want to go do research on these top 10 holdings and try to see what more about them is interesting, figure out what's going on. From Lone Pine, but this would be like the Lone Pine Capital. So maybe you want to add it to the sheet and say Lone Pine Capital. Then maybe if you want to also see, maybe you want to do like a little back test to see how exactly does Lone Pine Capital perform in comparison to the S&P, right? Like, what's that thing? Back test. So I'm gonna see so how do Lone Pine Capital do? Your top 10 holdings. Let's make it a little bit more. Let's use the top 20 holdings. Mainly weight stocks. Run back tests. They blowing out the S&P. Hold on. So I'm gonna check this out. Let me see if that's let me do this. So count 20 holdings because this criteria changes the portfolio a little bit. So, but it still matches up against the S&P. So that's why I want to see. Okay. Still doing, still blowing them out the water. Okay, so got to see what's going on. Okay, interesting. So then, Lone Pine Capital will be there will be a firm that I would be paying attention to because they look like they know what they're doing. Um, so what I also want to do is certain things you can use when you're starting to perform a thesis and data, start getting some data. Quiver is pretty cool too. Like I like sometimes I'll go on here and just see what I think is happening from um, what is the government's corporations are doing, like what's going on. So then you will see some people start trying to look for any type of like clues, like big purchases that are like, because a big purchase would tell me that they really believe in the stock, and that would be a sign to me that maybe that might be a stock worth looking at, or at least just understand why. Some because maybe it might fit into an industry that I'm already familiar with. Um, so see here, this one was a sale of PBFX. Interesting. Um, Jail sold. ET was a purchase. Not familiar with ET at all. So now I see here, Senator been back and forth with this one quite a few times. Got sold all, look like he sold all a lot of it. So, look like some people, look like he got back. Wait. Okay, so Senator had a little play with it. Look like the House not having a little fun with it. Oh no, House they been having fun with it. And State having fun with it. So now my interest is back, peep. Now my interest is back. Like what's going on with this ticker? So let me find out what ET is. Okay, energy transfer. Okay, interesting because we're talking about environmental societal governance. We start thinking about how we're investing into the most sustainable future. So maybe I'm getting to like in my head like what's going on. Um, this isn't really popping as far as Stripe, as far as the stock has been performing. Kind of, they've been on a downtrend. Looks like it's going to continue too. So, huh? That's interesting that they buying shares of a stock that's going down. So you just want to follow the money, follow the money, and then maybe try to see what's going on. Okay, so Sunoco seems to about Sunoco. They own Sunoco, whatever how you say that. Um, Individual investors, so some investment advisors. Hmm. So then now I'm curious. So I don't see none of the big three in here. Doesn't mean anything about that. Doesn't Lone Pine Capital in here. I see some Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, Blackstone Group, Invesco. You know. Okay, so I need to filter this out. Yeah, I'm not seeing the big three, man. But still kind of interested though, as far as like what's going on with this company. So look at the financials. They are definitely oh, okay. They're making a few little dollars here and there. Oh yeah, they're making a few dollars here and there. Hmm. I have to understand more about the company. But this is the type of things, but this natural gas pipelines. It's interesting that they gas company. We all thinking about we going renewable energy, but it's interesting they buying this. So we just gotta find out more about what this company doing. Maybe it's not just coal, fossil fuels. Maybe it's a little bit more to it. I don't know. But this type of thing is to just help you just start learning more about what's going on as far as the companies and different stocks. And then so what you can also do is try to, like I said, try to do and think about things outside the box at times. So I'll just look up on Google Trends to see what's going on with the interest over time with this stock. Texas definitely, of course. Oh, North Dakota. Okay. So now you're getting into a thesis, starting to understand more what's going on. Follow the money, follow the news, follow the lines, follow Google. So this is like I just wanted to show like how you can get into like really starting to this research. I knew I was gonna say something. Sorry, that's that pixel. But these are the type of things that I just try to use, try to use all the tools at my disposal, all the different kind of resources, and just come up with a story. Because every company has a story, and a lot of these companies have a lot of stories that intersect, right? So if you understand what one company story is, and then you understand what another company story is, you start seeing a bigger picture into everything, and then you start seeing more. You just get a bigger market awareness, and you're able to come up with a sentiment of like what's about to happen, right? Like what's the functionality of um, what this company does, how does it play into the picture of the political aspect, how does it play into the picture as far as in the future of the world, and how does those things intersect. And that's how I just tend to like to just try to research and try to like learn more. I really do think like, I mean, if you learn more about the world and you learn about where we're heading, I don't think you really cannot learn more about the technology and the advances that we're making in this world if you really want to get good at this. I don't think you can't not do it. I think if you do not try to get yourself immersed into the news, the technological advances, um, the mindset of the people in power in politics and the mindset of people that are on the corporate side as well, understanding how we are as a people as well, how this all is going to like converge and and basically lead the future in a certain path. If you understand that, you now can now, I mean, you're now able, in a sense, be able to predict the future because you now understand it. Of course, it's going to be a little harder, I mean, not that simple, but you start understanding where we're headed. You start understanding where to look for those companies in those industries that are going to be the leaders. Because we already had a synopsis of it going that like we know that the future of investment, seeing that the data has been shown from like sites like Visual Capitalist and Factset that like the ESG is going to be important in the future. Sustainable a sustainable economy is going to be very important, and a lot of investments in the future requires us. It's going to require a lot of investments, right? So then you use this to kind of come up with a sort of guideline or a lane that you kind of like can travel down to understand more about, um, and use these different sites and resources at your disposal. So different like some news sites. I like this one. Gives me a really dope site every day. Morning brew. You get this in the morning. It tells you a lot of stuff that's going on. And you could like subscribe to like their technological part, their retail part, because they have different newsletters that you can subscribe to. So you can subscribe to the emerging tech, the retail, the marketing brew. You get this first thing in the morning or during the day, and it'll just have dope stories to talk about. A lot of people haven't been talking a lot, but like one issue that I was like just as serious is like what's going on with the Fire Eye. SolarWinds was hacked. You start coming up with another thesis about like it's interesting because we're getting into a world where the cloud is about to be important. We're getting we're getting cybersecurity attacks now. I mean, that's gonna amp up even more security companies for the network, right? So you could go to Quiver to see who you could probably find possibly that might support those initiatives too from the government. But so this is how I just like try to research it. It's like you're basically a journalist, a researcher, an analyst all in one at the end of the day. And but the thing is, at the end of the day, for all that work you do, you now buy your time back by understanding more about the future. And because you now understand more about the future, you not have to do as much in the future because you already invested into the future today. So when you invest today into the future, you start seeing a return because you did the work, you did the work, you did your due diligence, you did your research, you deep dived in and really broke companies down by the financial side as well, but also on the industry side, you got the story to go together. Now you bought your time back in the future, so you good in my opinion. So I'm gonna end it right here. Think I kind of covered a lot of stuff about that I wanted to cover. So hope this was helpful. Um, Appreciate you watching this. Tune in. Follow me on Instagram. Just go into the about section. TAYO period AKIN. Another thing you can do is tune into the Come Up series. Definitely a dope series. Definitely want to be able to tune into that. Um, Go out there, execute, learn as much as you can. Learners are earners.